And that's how I got all the Snickers bars. What's going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more and suck less. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, Dan Ray. You got to know the neighborhood, right? Somewhere they give out the big full-size ones.
Yes. Have you already collected your dad tax, or is this like an ongoing process?
I'm full on keto right now, so I'm not doing dad tax. Yeah, it can sit in the bucket, and it's going to because I have an only child, and so there's no competitive pressure.
Right.
So the candy sits on the kitchen island until what's left is what nobody wants.
Right, the dregs.
When I was, me and my brother, my Halloween haul was under lock and key within half an hour of hitting the door.
Yes.
But not so much when you're like an only child and your parents are doing weird eating practices.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, like Halloween is like a big blowout. My family comes over. We've got friends and neighbors, and we kind of roam the neighborhood and such, and then everybody comes back here and we chill. This year the kids did fine, and it was weird. Like we were basically just base camp. We're at the point now where like the kids just kind of roam, and we kind of follow a little bit, but not really. And we're just there to kind of like socialize and just like meet our neighbors and stuff. Right.
There's a kid who my daughter's been friends with since they were in preschool together, since they were like 3, and they're still best buds, and they've trick-or-treated together since that age because they live in a very separated and not trick-or-treatable kind of place, and my neighborhood is quite dense, and so they've come over here every year. And this year, that girl's little brother brought his best friend, and so we met some like new parent friends and had a good hangout with them. And same kind of thing, we're following the kids, keeping an eye on them, but from a distance because they don't want to be anywhere near us, really. Right.
And if you didn't check out my socials, this year I dressed up as myself from 2007.
I thought.
As did Amber, and we did one of those fun I'm just a kid social media video thingies.
When we met.
Yeah. I had not done my own eye makeup in about 15 years, but you know what? I still got it.
Still got it. Okay.
It's just like falling off a bike. I went right to it. Now, the only thing I am currently struggling with is getting just the rest of the nail polish out from underneath my cuticles and whatnot. It's one thing I had failed to remember, that like you don't normally just like paint your nails for one night.
Right. Yeah.
But I did.
I kind of went low effort, but so did my wife. We both went we have a pair of bee costumes that are essentially you wear black clothes. It's like a yellow tutu and a yellow pair of wings and a pair of Dealey Bob headband ears. Right. And, it's fine. You just walk around, be a bee. It's fine. Sure. But we were walking down the street, and there was a little kid, tiny kid, who was a bee. And we were like, oh, bees. And he said, actually, I'm a yellow jacket.
Ugh.
And I said, well, that is very specific. Thank you for that.
And also disappointing.
Also, nobody likes a yellow jacket.
Yeah.
I didn't dig into that with this kid, but.
I probably need to figure out what's up with his parents.
Life questionable
choices were made. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite like low effort costume was one year I was Loki, but I was wearing a green shirt that just said low key, like low key. Okay. And so it was literally just a green t-shirt and then, the horns.
Yes.
And that was my costume.
Yeah, it's good. One of the t-shirts that I have that I wear to Disney sometimes says, I am burdened with glorious purpose. Loki's line.
Yeah. What else has been going on? Trick-or-treating aside, what do you got? What else has been going on in your world?
I've been reaching out to my guys. I think I'm ready to get in the room and start making some noise again.
Nice.
So we'll probably do that. I have some work travel coming up and some fun travel coming up. Well, fun/work that will take me out the next couple of weekends. But I think we're going to start making some sounds again in the next little bit. So I'll keep you posted about that. I'm excited.
Cool. I've also got some travel. I'm going to Austin, and some folks in the Slack hit me up and saying, hey, here's some places I want to go, or I like to hang out or whatever. So if I'm able to peel away, hopefully I'll get a chance to hang out with some folks. It's not this week, but the following week I'll be in Austin from like Monday to Thursday. And then on Monday, we had band practice. Everybody came in, and we worked through the Stranger Things block party, which is coming up this Saturday.
Nice.
We were setting up the rig without our main sound guy. We were doing multi-track Ableton. We're back in Ableton now, which allows us to do some cool stuff with automation and things, but there's definitely some kinks to work through. And then it was just a bunch of new materials. So for this gig, we are adding a handful of songs. One of them being Master of Puppets by Metallica. So God bless Joey, our guitar player. He he gave me, he showed me mercy, and he's like, we've already got the other guy. Because the special thing about this is that this guy, Aiden Fisher, is a local guitar player, and his main claim to fame was that he was Eddie's guitar stand-in on the show. So during the epic, Demogorgon situation in the Upside Down where he's playing Master of Puppets, this is what that guy was doing.
Nice.
So we invited him to play it with us, but I only have to sing it. But then it's like, oh, do I actually know the words to Master of Puppets? Turns out I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I've definitely sang along to it, but I'd never really dug into it. So
it's a different thing.
That's my assignment for this week. We're also adding Running Up That Hill. We found an arrangement. We put an arrangement together that clocks in at just about 2.5 minutes, which, I think is about as long as people want to hear that song.
It's about all you want of that song, yeah.
But the big one, and the one that we probably played 6 times just because it felt good, is we are doing Separate Ways, (Worlds Apart), and it rips. It rips so hard. And we put the arrangement again. Joey has totally stepped up and is he's been doing the arrangements and all the tracks and all of that stuff. And so I literally just got to walk into rehearsal ready to go, which was nice. Yeah. And didn't feel half as stressful as it normally does. But we're kind of doing it where it's got the intro from the trailer, that's got the big kind of epic strings and all of that. And so, when it starts, it's just the vocal and then kind of all of this kind of atmospheric stuff going on behind it. And then the whole thing kicks in and it just rips so hard. If the house burned down, that rehearsal was worth it just to be able to play through that 5 times. Good. It was so fun.
Yeah.
So that one's a keeper. It will stay in rotation. Maybe not with the big Stranger Things intro, but that song is amazing and it felt great.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. We were testing out a bunch of systems. MK was working with the main stage key rig. So
yes,
lots of firsts. Hopefully we've worked through all the kinks. This is I hate beta testing things in a live scenario, but the gig's coming up on Saturday, so it's got to happen. And that's pretty much it. We on the other side of that, we've got a couple of November turned out to be a very busy month for us.
Yeah,
we've got the Stranger Things thing this coming Saturday. We've got a private party the next Saturday. We're doing a live band karaoke, I think the following week. So, up until I think the first or second week of December, we're basically playing every weekend, which is, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to kick off the cobwebs and be busy for a little bit. Our marching band season just wrapped, so we were able to kind of shift gears slightly.
You're free now
for a couple of weeks, and then we're just writing out the rest of the year. So it's all good.
Good.
And let's see, no reviews this week. Not a lot of housekeeping. Things are kind of just moving and grooving. So appreciate everybody's support, but no news as of now. But what we do want to get into is a very meaty question that got sent to us through the Coverband Confidential website. We've got an inquiry form, and it's been active over the past few weeks. And I actually got one this morning that dovetails into a topic that Dana and I have been bouncing back and forth for a month or two.
The exact person to talk about a thing we've been wanting to talk about just dropped out of the sky.
Yeah, divine intervention, if you will. This is one of those things where it's a little sticky. I will say that this is Dustin who reached out to us, but we will do our best to be as vague as we can.
Yeah.
So, Dustin says, "Hey, Adam and Dan, been listening to you guys for a couple of years and really appreciate everything you do. I am writing to you because I need some advice, maybe reassurance, maybe therapy. I'm an older millennial, checking in, and have been playing in an emo/pop punk cover band over the last 2 years, but I have not been able to get enough traction to where we are consistently bringing, a decent amount of people. DJ-led emo nights do well up here in the Pacific Northwest, but there hasn't been much demand for a live band doing the same style. For 2025, I decided to start a chibi band based on a big emo band that we won't name, as well to see if it would be easier to get better quality gigs and more fans. 80s tributes dominate up here. Nice. With a handful of 90s acts, there would be nothing like this being one of the only 2000s tributes that I'm aware of in our region. Things started off great with our first performance going over far better than we anticipated with a huge audience around July last summer.
Nice.
However, I learned quickly that there was another unnamed tribute forming shortly after our first gig. More interesting, this was led by a group of musicians who were already quite successful in the cover scene for their own 90s 2Ks cover band. These guys knew exactly who I was since I had an existing product in the scene. Reached out to them noting my new tribute had our first gig and other gigs on the books. Their response was, "So what?" and offered to recruit me into theirs. I declined, but still thought since they were aware of this other band I got off the ground, they would reevaluate before they recruited the rest of the lineup. Instead, they have worked towards going all in. These individuals are frustrating, relying on bots for IG followers and AI for poster and content generation for their existing group. Not to mention they are substantially older than me and my other millennial bandmates. Now, I would love to know, Dan and Adam, I appreciate that they flipped the order for
equal
billing. Yeah,
billing. Thank you.
How do you handle something like this, both mentally and to be a professional? Our area isn't exactly the largest market, so having something so niche in the space will potentially limit opportunities for both bands. Isn't there some band code or etiquette to follow for offerings like this? What would you guys do if you were dealt a hand like this? Thank you for any insight and inspiration you can provide.
Yep.
Thank you, Dustin, for reaching out. So We've got an established group that sees someone trying something new, and they were like, well, we've kind of already got the infrastructure together. Why don't we just do it too?
Yep.
And there's a lot of meat here. So where do you think we should start?
Look, let's just take this band code or etiquette question off the table.
No such thing exists.
Yeah, let's imagine that some such thing did. You're going to go up to them and say, guys, you're violating band code or etiquette.
Yeah, I would say, I think my response to that would also be very similar to the so what.
Yeah.
To put a more fine point on it, you're basically going, you guys, I was here first.
Yeah, right.
It was my idea.
And it was.
But it just doesn't necessarily read
or matter.
Yeah, in that way. So yeah, this is kind of the deal here, especially if you're in a market with people who don't operate the way that we try to, from abundance and saying, you know what, there's plenty of work to go around for everybody. So a lot of people don't think that way. And they're going, well, if these guys are trying to do it, we'll just snipe their business and then they won't be able to.
Right. We're assuming that that's what this other group's thought is. We don't know that.
Sure.
I think, is it a total coincidence? Probably not.
No.
But is it malicious? I don't know. I don't want to assume that.
It is kind of similar in the way that, like, I don't see another 80s band popping up and going, I can't believe that these people think that they could just start. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is a specific tribute of a specific act that another specific tribute of that act popped up. And It's not a common genre to be tributing in that area. And so it's hard to think that that's a coincidence.
Yeah. So in that scenario, though, what do we do? How do we respond?
It's very similar to some conversations I have a lot about competition in my day gig. I'm a product manager in the software space in an industry that is small and incestuous, and we all know what everybody's doing. And competition is a thing. I have the product that I manage in my work covers a few different things, and I have different competitors over different modules of it. So how I advise my direct reports who are responsible for those pieces of the business that we're doing is I say, first of all, you need to really understand your competition. You got to do a gap analysis. And what that means is you need to understand where you're ahead of them and where they're ahead of you.
Yep.
And it probably isn't that they're way ahead. I mean, it sounds like this other band is still recruiting.
Yeah.
So, our questioner, remind me his name?
Dustin.
Thank you. Dustin is probably ahead of them. He's had at least a gig.
Yeah. Doesn't
sound like they have yet. But maybe they have the infrastructure. Maybe there was a lot baked into their existing project that fed into this. I got actually approached about a year ago, and I was fresh off of surgery, and there was no way I could do it. But a guy wanted to put together an all-acoustic Pink Floyd tribute.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting idea, and I think it would have been a ton of fun. I had no physical capacity to participate.
Sure.
But there are Pink Floyd tributes that are note perfect. There are ones that do a lot of production that calls back to Pink Floyd production. This would have been neither of those. This would have been completely making it our own and interpreting it as fans. And there would have been gaps between us and other Floyd tributes on the market that would have been interesting and maybe given us some, like, gosh, maybe a Chauvet 4-bar on random isn't the best call for something that's trying to be a Pink Floyd tribute. Maybe we need to step up our game there, right?
Right.
So there's going to be stuff that you will learn as you understand their deliverable that will guide what you want to put out in your product.
Yeah.
And that's the first really important thing.
Yeah.
So you need to really study that and understand that. If they aren't to market yet, maybe it's hard. Maybe you don't have anything to really look at, but you'd be wise to be at their first gig.
Yeah.
And really understand what they're doing and learn from it. Not that you're going to mimic them, but you're going to understand, gosh, our lighting is fully not up to par with what they're doing.
Right.
Our frontman doesn't look enough like the frontman of the tribute that we're tributing.
Right.
And theirs does, and we need to correct that.
Yeah.
You know, you'll learn a bunch of little things that will make the competitive challenge they're providing a lot less damaging.
Right. But I mean, at the end of the day, the thing, it is purely a product issue.
Yes.
And if the intent is to build a product and there is a competing product in the market, the one who ends up on top is the best product overall.
Yeah. Well, unless the product's differentiate enough that you're going to two different, like totally different shows.
Right, but it gets a lot trickier when it's a tribute because the aim, the shows should almost be identical,
unless you're doing something like that all acoustic Floyd,
right?
Which is like a very distinct kind of tribute.
Yeah, the vibe that I'm getting though is that they're trying to do it like you know, pitch perfect to the source material.
Yeah.
Which means they're probably looking at old set lists and, you know, maybe it's an era thing and you could do one album cycle versus another or that kind of thing. But ultimately, this boils down to the quality of the product.
Yes.
And your ability to market it.
Yes.
So you can be mad at they're cheating, they're using AI, they're using bots, but like at the end of the day, the product that ends up on stage is the one that you need to be worried about.
Yeah, I have thoughts about that whole thing too.
Okay.
Should we do that now?
Yeah.
Look, deal with it.
Yeah.
That's the future. That's the future. Right now, you can kind of detect that it's AI and bots. In 6 months, that will be much less. In a year, much less again. If you're not doing that, you're the one putting yourself behind. Yeah.
There are no purity tests in these kinds of things. And integrity is overrated when you're in a cutthroat business like this.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at this point, you've got razor thin margins. You're trying to build something from the ground up. All's fair in love and war. So use whatever resources you have at your disposal. Doesn't matter whether they are, you know, I don't know, ethical. I don't even know the way to kind of approach it.
Here's the thing, that we're at this moment with AI generation where you can still kind of tell.
Yeah.
And that's going to go away soon. So if you're not already in those tools and using those tools, like you are behind the curve.
Yeah.
And you just gotta do the work to get ahead of the curve. Everybody's going to be doing that, and you will be at a major competitive disadvantage if you're not doing it.
Right.
Right now, it's like, oh, haha, that's AI, blah, because you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't. Kids particularly can.
Yeah.
But you need to be using those. You know, pointing at them and saying that's no fair. I don't know. It's like playground behavior.
Yeah. You know, going to give Dustin some tough love, but like a lot of this is just kind of like, it's not giving confidence. It's giving insecurity.
Yeah.
It's approaching things from a position of weakness that does not read well externally.
Sure. Yeah. And look, Dustin, it's not fair. And it's not cool. And that doesn't mean anything for the outcomes. It's a more seasoned and mature group can come in and eat your lunch at any time, and there's no law against that.
Yep.
And so you either need to step up your game and be competitive, or decide this is not where you want to compete. That's the other thing I tell my product managers. If you have an idea and it's a great idea, if somebody else had that idea and they've already executed on it and they've already won the market, the greatness of your idea is irrelevant.
Well, yeah, and then it becomes a matter of, do you feel like competing for whatever, tiny sliver of the market is available?
Yeah. Is second place going to be good enough for you?
Yeah. Or is it worth all the time and effort to claw whatever percentage of their fan base that you can from them?
Yeah.
And it may be, it may not be.
And listen, there are fun ways to do that. There are ways to do and win that.
Sure.
There are ways to do that like make it clear you're in a fight and you are out to win. And, there's ways to do that. It's fun and engaging for an audience and interesting. And, the people who are super into that band, like suddenly there are two tributes and they're competing and, that's really interesting. I'm going to go to both of them and see what I think. There is an audience for that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what that other group is banking on.
But also, I mean, just based on like the timeline, which of course we're getting kind of like a general version of.
Yeah.
They're kind of already in that world. So it could have been something that they had been toying with, and maybe seeing these guys do their first gig was kind of like oh snap, we really need to like lock this down because they've been fiddling with it, and maybe it's time to, put up or shut up. And frankly, the details don't matter.
Right.
The main question is, do you feel like competing with this particular group of guys, or do you want to pivot?
Yeah.
Because there are things that you can pivot to. So if we're fully speculating, we're talking about pop punk and emo. Let's say that this is a Blink-182 tribute band. You could continue down that road, try something different, or maybe you pivot to a different tribute. Maybe you go, well, but we'll do a Green Day tribute, or we'll do a My Chemical Romance tribute. There are things that you could do, and then you end up in a position where you're not competing against these guys. You can actually bring them in, and you guys could start doing these co-headline
do shows together
deals where both of you guys benefit because you're playing for bigger audiences, and you've got not competing products, but you've got similar products that you can then market as a package.
Yeah.
And maybe that gets you out of town. Maybe that gets you into bigger venues. Maybe that gets you into, the theaters and things like that, where you're not really worried about the scarcity of the market or not.
You'd have to get out over top of your feelings.
Yeah. That's the thing that you got. The thing that the question was, how do I be professional? You be professional by not making this personal.
Yes.
And frankly, we're in the cover business. There's no such thing as an original thought here.
Right.
You're like, you can't rip off this band. We're ripping this band off.
That's right.
That doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a hard hill to stand on.
Yeah.
Because it's just not made. It's not very sound structurally.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can hear the question. I mean, it's why we knocked it out first. Isn't there some band code or etiquette? Well, if there was, they wouldn't have done this, and they have. So there isn't. Here's an alternative.
Yeah.
Dustin approached them to say, hey, not cool. And they were like, so what? You want to join us?
Right.
You could do a van band model here.
Yep.
Right? There's a fully stood up band on our side of the question and one that's still recruiting on that side. So you could have the Moskowitz model where you've got a profusion of people who can fill different slots on stage, and it can be shaped different ways and whatever. That would be a thing you could do if you as an alternative to hard competition.
Yeah.
Something to think about. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the stuff beyond the personal stuff is that there appears to be, these guys are older, maybe the imagery doesn't work.
Right.
Look,
and that might be something you learn in your gap analysis is it looks like fossils up there playing music that's too young for them.
Yeah.
So we need to lean into our age group and talk to our demographic. That would inform you about how you'd market is the only genuine tribute of whatever.
Yeah. And when members only got into the market, we were young, we were,
right. We're too young to be doing 80s, really.
Yeah, I mean, early 30s. So the way we build ourselves as a young, energetic live show.
Yeah.
Because most of the bands that were doing this were not any of those things.
Right.
It was very much, we're in our costumes and we're standing there and we're playing the songs, and maybe they sound just like they do in the record, maybe they don't. But we were basically giving like a Warped Tour level, like energy wise performance.
Yeah.
So you were seeing a bunch of like younger players like tearing ass basically on stage. Now we are now on the other side of that, and another 80s band could come in and definitely use that against us.
Yeah.
And coming into the pop punk emo deal, we would also be on the higher end of that. But when we opted to do Warped, the billing was that like we were guys who actually we were in that scene. Like we did things. We played with those bands. Like there was a pedigree there. But beyond that, it's just, what do you have to offer that is different than everybody else?
Yeah.
And if you don't have a compelling argument, then you need to figure something else out.
That's right.
Because again, we aren't doing anything special. We are selling widgets. The widget happens to be live music entertainment. And the only way that you can sell a product is by marketing it. And it's one of those things that I still don't understand that musicians don't get.
Yeah.
Every time I see somebody, it's like, I don't understand why I have to be a social media presence in order to sell my music. It's like, why do you think that the rules of business apply to everybody else in the entire world except for you?
Well, it's because the venue should be responsible for bringing the people.
No, that's not it, though. If you're making music and your music is the product.
Yeah.
So you have to market that product.
That's right.
You do. It's not anybody else's job unless you hire an agency to do that. And then, but then that's money exchanging hands. But like,
but Adam, I'm an artist.
No, okay. Then, you can make your paintings and you can hang them up in your basement and you can look at them and be so happy. And maybe people come to your basement and will look at them for you.
Yeah, I'll play my song to myself in my bedroom and really enjoy it.
If you're trying to build a following or you're trying to turn this into commerce, then guess what? You're in
the marketing business.
It's capitalism. Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
So Dustin and his crew, you guys need to have a gut check.
Yes.
About why this is bothering you so much. And then, so that's step number 1.
Yep.
Step 2 is immediately get over it.
Right. Right.
And then step 3 is determining what you do next.
Yeah. And then part of step 3 is determining, like I say, the gap analysis can be really critical.
Yeah.
You're going to need to understand what their product is versus what yours is and what you're willing to modify yours into, including if it's a totally different concept.
Yeah. This may not have been the soft landing that you were hoping for, but hopefully it's the thing that you needed to hear.
I don't know. He said he wanted some therapy. I think we gave some therapy.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is, though, is that this particular era, this pop punk emo thing, is the next big market. It is the thing that people are going to gravitate towards. So this past weekend, we were at this marching band competition, and I'm sitting there with like other parents. They're all our age. And the bands are playing like Linkin Park and Destiny's Child and NSYNC. And we're like, man, they're playing a bunch of bangers. And it's like, guys, we're the ones paying for the school.
That's right.
They're playing for us because we're the ones who are like, we're the target demo. So of course they're playing all of this stuff.
As the only cover band person sitting there, you were real clear about that.
No, you know what? I don't think it took me longer than it probably should have, but I was the only person who was like, oh, of course Georgia State's marching band is going to play stuff like us. We're the ones paying their kids' tuition.
That's right.
They're trying to make the parents in the stands happy because they're the ones that are funding this whole operation. So it's the same thing. And, as far as like the pop punk emo thing, we've got a lot of guys in this community that are doing the karaoke deal. And it goes over like gangbusters. It is a big deal. And it might be the way to thread the needle on the live band thing isn't going so great, but the DJ thing is really, really popular. So maybe that is the gap.
Yeah. Listen, there are people who mash that up, who have a DJ who works with them and they trade sets, and that's a valid thing.
And the thing is about, as far as like karaoke bands, is that like you end up performing as a full band a lot. Mm-hmm. Most groups will do at minimum a warm-up set of like 2 to 5 songs. It's just a way to kind of like temper the audience and get them, get people signed up and that kind of thing. So you're still doing the thing that you're doing, but it does require a bunch of, auxiliary things and systems and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of there.
Yes.
So don't think that the one good idea that you had is the only good idea out there, because frankly, it's not. And there's a lot of other ways that you could be leveraging this particular group of people in that audience.
Look, going karaoke on that band you're tributing would be a great way to differentiate yourself against your competitor.
Well, even if it's just like a one-off kind of deal, like see how it goes, because
Sure.
If ultimately you want people just singing along, then karaoke is kind of like the next logical conclusion there.
True.
Because I remember the first time we played with Warped, it was like the show was sold out, and doing Dear Maria Count Me In, and like just hearing like hundreds of people scream, "I got your picture, I'm coming with," it feels rad.
Yeah.
So whether you think that you're backed into a corner or you're facing, it's like a David versus Goliath thing. In reality,
existential crisis.
It isn't.
No,
it's not that serious. I don't think the other band is taking it that serious, and I don't think you should either.
Yes.
Because listen, I've got friends in every 80s band in the area, and I've got friends with 80s bands all over the country at this point. And it's way better to have allies than enemies. And even if you're competing against people like Braxton, who I interviewed here, he was the guy who started the Weezer tribute all those years back. He's got an 80s band, ATL Vice. And they've come to our shows, and they're out there doing their thing, and it's all good because they're playing dates that we can't play, and we're playing dates that they can't play, and it is what it is.
Yep.
I feel better seeing other people doing their own thing and not feeling like I'm being shorted or slighted in any way.
Yes.
I could choose to feel that way, but the only person that negatively impacts is me.
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to.
Yeah.
I try not to let that stuff bother me. And if you could do the same, I think you would be much better off.
There you go.
Any other parting words? No,
I think we nailed it.
So Dustin, I truly thank you for reaching out. Like when this came in, like the second it came in, I immediately wrote back like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a good question. I can't wait we're going to do it this week." Some of these we have on the back burner for a little bit. I was like, no, we gotta talk about this like immediately.
And I, the minute you forwarded it to me, I was like, oh, we're going to disappoint Dustin so bad.
Yeah. It is what it is. But the thing that I hope that everybody who comes to this show looking for advice is that we are going to give you good information, whether it's the information you want to hear or not.
Exactly.
Like, we're not going to,
we're not going to sugarcoat. We're not going to take your side.
It doesn't.
We're not going to chat GPT you.
No, it doesn't benefit anybody to do it that way.
Right.
If you want opinions about what to do next, then you need somebody who's willing to give you a gut check. Yep. Be like, hey, you can't do it this way.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Like it sucks, but get over it.
Yep. So I'm sure we'll get a follow-up from Dustin, and hopefully this lands on, we're coming at this from a place of love and respect.
For sure.
Because we care enough to make sure that you understand, like, this is the way that you need to proceed. And if you do X, Y, and Z, then, you'll be better off, and you won't have to worry about some of the existential stuff.
Right.
So, anywho, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully if you've been in this situation, if you're currently in the situation that this landed and, this was the thing that you needed to hear, but, we appreciate you and, couldn't do it without you. If you'd like to support the show, you can do any of the things you're about to hear about. Go ahead and call it for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of November 7th, 2025.